Hey everyone, welcome back to Servadio Entertainment's video tutorial series, The Beginner's Guide to Better Sounding Midi Sequences. Today I'm working on that bass track, so let's get right into it. Now I've already stripped away the processing on the bass track and created a loop so we can listen. Here's the bass by itself. As always, I highly recommend bringing in a studio musician to lay in real guitar tracks. The bass is no exception. If you're on a budget and need to use the existing MIDI track for your bass, we can greatly improve what's here. In this case, the budget does not allow for a studio musician, so refining the MIDI bass is today's project. The first thing we need to do is make sure we have all of the tracks except for kick and bass muted. Now, why do I need to hear the kick when I'm working on bass? Well, here's a good mix tip. As I've mentioned in prior videos, your objective is to mix frequencies, so everything has its own space to live in. Kick and bass often fight for the same space in a frequency spectrum. Getting them to a cohesive blend is a challenge, but when it's done, your final mixes will shine. And of course, this is true for any type of mix, not just MIDI. So let's listen to the bass and kick together. Well, we know the kick sounds pretty good because we modified that in the last video. But listening to the bass, it really just has no sparkle. I start by loading up a preset I designed in Logic. Logic has some great sounding presets, so use one of those if you haven't created your own already. For this project, I'm going a step further and adding Bass Amp Designer directly to the track. So I'm going to load in one of my presets that a bass player helped me design for a more natural sounding bass when used with my modified drum kit. Here's another useful tip. I recommend importing the original 2-track version of the song you're working on into your project for reference. The original version of this song, released in 1981, sounded great for the time, but we really need to give it a more modern tone for today's crowds and danceability. Tweaking the sound too much will take away from the recognition factor of the song, so there's a fine line between old and new school, so tread lightly on tone modification. Get that mix sounding like the original, but with a more modern feel. This is also the reason for the added Bass Amp Designer plugin we're using today. Okay, let's play that track and hear the difference with the modifications. Huge, right? The bass has a clean, clear space to breathe while the kick remains defined and punchy. I was able to achieve this with my presets because I've already mixed frequency within the preset EQ. The kick and bass are not fighting for space, giving you more control and better tone. We will have to adjust things in the final mixes, but this is another great starting point for the bass track. Okay, that's it for this video, but our next video is on the way as we continue to fix this sequence to completion. As always, we appreciate your support, and thanks for watching.